Hey guys, so today we are going to answer some of the frequently asked questions that I get. However, we are going to limit it to 3 since I don't want this to be a very long video. We'll try to keep it as short as possible so that I don't take so much of your time. Before that though, let me update you with one of my alt accounts. Right, so in the last video I showed you that we reached top 90 with Ignatius. Right now we are sitting at top 56. So the original goal was top 100, right? But it seems like we got there way ahead of schedule. And actually, it is very possible for me to reach top 30 at this point. I mean, it's going to be hard, but it is possible. So this is a pleasant surprise and a very good update. The other two is doing okay. Like the other one went from top 11 to now top 5%. I'm talking about percents here, right? However, it's not doing as well as this one, Ignatius. So that's why I thought this one is worth mentioning. Now, let's get to the frequently asked questions. First question is Byrde strong? Or the variation of this question, how did I get my Byrde so strong? And in order to answer that question well, I am also going to give you some supporting videos. The short answer to the question, is Byrde strong? Yes. However, if you're not going to maximize his full potential, then the answer to that is no. Byrde is kind of a tricky familiar to use, right? So he's not a plug and play type of familiar where whatever lineup you put him into, he will destroy, right? No, he will destroy only if you let him. Alright, I'm sure you know what Byrde does at this point, but in case you don't, let me read to you his skill. So activates when the familiar's HP is at 50%, right? So when Byrde's HP goes to below 50%, he will deal 170% of attack, deal 66% of damage taken for 3 seconds as damage to nearby enemy familiars. So let me explain that to you very quickly. When Byrde's HP goes at 50%, this is automatic. There's no cooldown for it at the beginning of the game. So at the beginning of the game, once his HP reaches 50%, he will then activate the skill. So when he activates the skill, he will not move for 3 seconds. And whatever damage that he gets in those 3 seconds, 66% of that damage will be reflected back to the radius around Byrde. Alright, in this video, please focus your eyes on Byrde because he is the familiar in question. Okay, let's pause here. As everybody else is having cooldown, right? Byrde does not have a cooldown for his skill. So it doesn't matter even at the beginning of the battle. If his HP goes below 50%, it will automatically update. It will automatically activate. So no worries about that. All right, Byrde over here. Not yet 50%, 50%. Now he stops. See that? It's not moving, and then boom. All right. One thing I noticed, and I also posted this in my last video in the beginning. Right, that's another proof of that. So whatever happens to Byrde, once he starts charging, he will still activate his skill. So as we can see in this video, even though while charging, he got pulled by Staghorn, right? He gets pulled. He still activates his skill. So meaning you cannot stop him once he starts charging unless he dies. Alright, so that's another good thing about Byrde. So you don't have to worry about crowd control. So once he reaches below 50%, all you have to worry about is him surviving. So if he survives after going below 50%, all the attack that he gets will be reflected back to the enemies within the radius. And as you can see also in this video, all the others, even though they are kind of far away from Byrde, so he started from about midpoint, like he casted the burst around midpoint of the arena, right? But still, all the others were hit, right? So it means the radius of his skill is actually pretty far enough to hit all the guys at the back line, right? So even Surya was hit, even Toko was hit. All right, so let's just finish the video. Okay, so actually in here, Sorbor is pretty strong. It is hard to kill Sorbor, especially if all the others are almost dead and Toko is uh, out there healing him. So yeah, just a bonus take. Sorbor is doing pretty amazing in the arena as well. But I win that because of Byrde. Right, so if we look at the details, as you can see, Byrde is the MVP of this battle just because of how much damage he was able to do with that nuke of his. And to think, let me show you, this Byrde is just a 1, right? So only at Awakening 1, your Byrde can do amazing damage if built correctly and, you know, if the circumstances favors him and his skill. So what are those circumstances? I mentioned it earlier. He has to get as much damage as possible and survive. Let me just go back to the video and show you something. So there's something that happened here that is kind of the perfect scenario for Byrde. So as you can see, I have Toko as well in this team. So Byrde, okay, Byrde reached 50% about this time, and then that's also the same time Toko casted his heal. So if Byrde starts charging, even if Toko heals him, if his HP go overboard 50%, it's not gonna stop charging. So basically, you get to have Byrde take more damage than just half of his HP. So since Toko heals 40% of his HP, at max we can do 66% of Byrde's 89% HP. So if we can have 66% of the 89% health, we are going to do devastating damage, and that's exactly what happened in this video. He took a lot of hits here, a lot of basic attacks, but also he was able to withstand Staghorn's pull right over there, because Toko was able to heal Byrde below 50% HP. So if you want a team comp that is perfect for Byrde, Toko has to be in it. And by the way, I forgot to mention, we also have Shrimpaler over here. So Shrimpaler also heals Byrde every time he attacks. Although this Shrimpaler is not very strong. I think only Awaken 1. So I mean, it's not very good, but you know, it helps a little bit. So in this team, we are kind of supporting Byrde to survive and take a lot of damage in order for his bursts to destroy enemies, right? Since the radius is very good, right? It will hit a lot of enemies. It is in our best interest, if you are using Byrde, to build a team that will play to his strengths. Now, I guess it goes without saying, but if you are using a lot of melee types in your team, like let's say you have 2 other melee types and then you want to put Byrde together with those 2 melee types, and then in the end, Byrde will disappoint you because honestly, without the skill of Byrde, like if it doesn't hit hard, he doesn't do much else, right? So at most, you could maybe have 1 more melee type aside from Byrde. And the only reason why I say that is because in this account, I am experiencing some success, and it has Ebon together with Byrde. So that's the only reason why I can say that you can have 1 more and be effective, right? But if you ask me what would be the ideal scenario is for Byrde to be the only melee type so that he can take all of the damage and then have healers at the back in order for Byrde to have the maximum amount of damage returned to the opponent. The only weakness that I can see is really Staghorn, right? Because Staghorn fucks up my team setup, right? So I want everyone to hit Byrde, but if Staghorn pulls all of the people in the back, then you know Byrde, chances are he won't get hit as much. So that's kind of the weakness to that kind of setup. But as I showed you in the video, I did win against a team with a Staghorn, so it is still winnable. But you know, it could be very bad if Staghorn pulls the other familiars and Byrde ends up not getting hit. And so yeah, I hope that answers that question. But anyway, speaking of Staghorn, this next question actually has something to do with Staghorn. And the question is, to put it simply, how to use Staghorn effectively. Or, to use other people's own words, why the fuck does my Staghorn only pull one or two familiars? In the past, it used to pull everybody in, right? So I actually have this question as well, and now I have the answer, and I am going to share it to you. Now, in order to really understand the answer to this, I would need a visual aid. This video is me getting attacked by Poovzy. He is a whale in our server. He is top 3. Usually when he attacks me, I lose, and this time though, I won, and so I was curious, how the hell did I win this? And so when I rewatched it, then I understood how Staghorn's skill actually works. Alright, attacking, and then he pulls. However, he was only able to pull one familiar, and that is Shrimpaler, and thus the skill of his hippocampus was only able to hit one. Eventually, I won that. But anyway, just to give you an instant replay, too bad I don't have slow motion. As you can see, attacking and then pulled. I don't know if you saw like the vacuum there. There's the animation for the vacuum. So right over there. So it went on a straight line. So apparently, when Staghorn uses his skill, it's not AoE. It's only in a straight line, right? Whoever is the furthest away from him, that's the one he's gonna pull. And if there's nobody in between the two, then the furthest away is the only one who is going to get pulled. Now, if you thought that his skill actually works on a radius, not on a straight line, then I'm actually with you, because if you look at the definition of his skill, right? So it says here deals 299.2% of attack as AoE to enemies, pulls enemies to Staghorn, right? Now that is kind of contradicting the first line here in the description. Staghorn uses nature's explosive wrath to attack the most distant enemy familiar and pull it toward itself. It says here enemy, so just one, so the furthest one, right? Although in this one, in this particular definition, it says AoE to enemies. So that makes this very, very confusing. And like in my experience, when I did not have Staghorn before, I thought like, what the fuck is this guy doing? He is basically destroying arena. Every time I go up against a Staghorn, I lose, because it doesn't matter where my familiars are. Feels like everybody gets sucked in. And then after I got Staghorn, I was like, wait, what is going on in here? Why is Staghorn not pulling everybody in? It's only just one or two, and I felt like Staghorn was nerfed. Maybe he was. We don't know, because sometimes Netmarble does have some secret nerfs. And so there's no way I can confirm this, again, because I don't work for Netmarble. So whatever it is I'm saying about nerfs, these are purely speculation, okay? But it does feel that way, and I'm sure a lot of people felt that way. In my kingdom, they also asked the same question. Some people who are messaging me on Discord, they ask the same question. So that's why it is in the frequently asked question segment of this channel, right? So now we know that the first definition is the one that actually applies, and it works in a straight line. Now that we know that, how do we use Staghorn effectively? That he can pull a lot of enemies together, right? So that you can break the team's placement, or use him as a starter for a huge nuke, someone like Hippocampus. One thing you can do is put Staghorn in the middle of the battlefield, just like this one. So he is in the middle, right? Although at the back, but this would help Staghorn pull a lot of people in front of him, because chances are the one at the back, who is also in the middle, as like in the opponent side, it's also going to look like this. So the one in the middle is going to be the one farthest away from Staghorn. So Staghorn is going to target that one in particular, right? So, and the chances are there's going to be a battlefield here in the middle, and if the two on the side of the one furthest is close enough to the one in the middle, they will also be pulled in together with the one furthest away. All right, so I've tried this one myself and it worked. However, the weakness there is if the one in the middle is not a range type, right? So like, let's say for example, the one in the middle is a might for your opponent. So what's gonna happen is might will move towards the middle of the battlefield to attack because he's a melee type. So another range type who is further away is gonna be the target of Staghorn, right? So, and the chances are if it's on the side, there's not gonna be a lot of familiars in between them. So that is the weakness to that. Another way to use Staghorn effectively is actually showed to us by Poofzy. Alright, let's look at Poofzy's setup. He has Staghorn on the side, not in the middle. He's on the side. And the reason why is because he wanted to pull Shrimpaler. Right? Keep in mind, he is the one attacking here, so he can see the familiars at the back because I hid the one in front. So he knows where Shrimpaler is going to be, and he knows that Shrimpaler is a fire type. He knows he has a Hippocampus here, just twiddling his thumbs, waiting for him to use his skill and kill Shrimpaler in one go. Okay? So that's his plan. However, there's also a part of that plan that will help Staghorn, or basically his team, win the game. So Byrde will go in the middle of the battlefield. Ebon will do the same, so they will meet in the middle. And then Ebon will charge towards Byrde and will basically put Byrde right back here. And so what's going to happen is Byrde and Shrimpaler is going to be in front of Staghorn. So at least that's the idea, right? And so there's going to be two that's going to be taking some hits, and thus Byrde will be not as effective as I would hope for. And then eventually I will lose the game. And as I've told you earlier, every time Poofzy attacks me, I lose, right? It is just this particular scenario. And why is that? Let's play the video again, and you will see Byrde doing something that is, I don't know, unusual, right? So Byrde, look at that. Byrde didn't go directly to Ebon. He went around, right? He went to the side of Ebon, right? Let's look at that, right? And now, Ebon is facing sideways. And so if he pushes Byrde, that is actually going to help me, because he is going to put Byrde in a safe spot where he is not going to be pulled together with Shrimpaler, right? So that's what happened, basically, right? So so Ebon pushed Byrde away from the Staghorn skill, so almost like, hey, I'm saving you, get out of the way. So that's basically what happened. But that is, in theory, a good strategy. You can use Ebon Thorax to push enemies where they could be affected as well, or they could be pulled as well by Staghorn's skill. So that is two ways. So one, you can put Staghorn on the middle, right? And then two, you can have Ebon help you pull a lot more enemies to Staghorn. So there you go. Those are two things that you can do. At least now you're not just going blindly, hoping that, alright, in this battle, I hope Staghorn pulls more enemies. Now you know the idea behind it, and now you can possibly manipulate on how the placing would go and have Staghorn be more effective. Alright, there you go. There could be other ways in order to manipulate the placings. Maybe you can use Dinoceras, but so far, this is what I think would work. Alright, if you know others, you can maybe share it on the comment section. Would love to know what you think, and maybe you could also help other people who are using Staghorn that is watching this video. Alright, so that is for Staghorn. Alright, now for the final question. I took my time in the previous two, so we're going to make this quick. Alright, so the final question, which of the 3 stars is the best? There can only be one because we're talking about the best. However, I'm going to give you the runner-ups as well. So we're going to give you 3. In third place, we have Petromaton. Now, Petromaton is actually my first place before. However, because of, like, again, this is an opinion that is coming from someone who is in the top 10, top 100, right? So it's just that opponents now in the top 100 are very, very strong. A lot of nukes, right? It is almost impossible to delay the game enough in order for you to win, like in defense, right? So, and that's what Petromaton is good at. All right, now for the first and second, there's actually a debate going on who is the strongest, right? So I am talking about Worker Bumbler and Wombat. Both are range types, right? Worker Bumbler hits hard, right? But only a single target. Wombat, however, also a range type. Wombat, on the other hand, deals half of the damage and has a lower cooldown compared to Sunflower, although they both have low cooldowns. With Wombat, it does hit AoE. Well, not really AoE. It's also in a straight line, but like it pierces through. So whoever gets hit, if there's someone in the back, he will also get hit. So there's a chance to hit multiple enemies with Wombat. Now, who is the number one? In my opinion, it is Sunflower. Because in the current meta, there's a lot of Toko. And you know, since Toko's healing is AoE, it doesn't make sense for me to hit more familiars for less damage. So I would rather deal more damage to one familiar and have the chance to kill it as soon as possible, instead of dividing that damage to 2 familiars or 3 familiars, and then in the end have the possibility for Toko to heal them eventually. Toko is a strong healer, but he cannot heal the dead. So with that being said, I am going to put Worker Bumbler as number 1, as the best 3-star familiar, and Wombat as the second best. Alright, so there you go. Those are my answers to the frequently asked questions. Alright, now just before I end, let me just slip this one real quick. Someone in the comment section gave me an idea. So he said maybe we can do a segment where people send in or like take a screenshot of their familiars and their like team in the arena, and then maybe I can critique it and then maybe give an advice on what to do to make their familiars, you know, climb up the ranks. So that could be a good idea. And if you think that is a good idea, and since you made it, like if you're one of those people who made it through the end of this video, which is a very long video by the way, go ahead and send your like screenshots of the familiar arena team and then your familiars, and then I'll give you my critique, right? And then maybe we'll do that in the next video. I don't know. Let's see. But I'll post my Discord user on the comment section, and just add me up, send me a message with the screenshot, and then I'll use that for the next video. I hope it's gonna be fun, right? So looks like it's gonna be fun. So I hope you also would enjoy that kind of content. All right. So that could be a good segment. So that's what I thought. So right. So that's what we're gonna do. So go ahead, send in your screenshots, and then yeah, that's the end. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.